Good morning. It's morning. We have a lot of audience in the Philippines.
Oh,
So this is Kate, and I have here Daisy Jing.
hello. Hi, Kate. Sorry, I'm just pulling up the questions.
Okay, no worries.
So excited to be here, and I love your podcast, and your questions are so insightful. I'm excited to answer them.
Yes. So I know you're, oh my God, thank you for doing this. I know you're 9 months pregnant, and
Yeah, over 40 weeks. So anytime now.
that's crazy. So are you super excited? I know you're super excited.
I'm very antsy and anxious with what's going on in the hospital system and hearing all the news. Very antsy, and in general, I'm a very impatient person, and I'm not used to waiting for people.
I think any
You
that runs a company are impatient by nature.
Yeah, I am impatient and I want to control this, but I can't. And so it's really testing me right now.
It drives you nuts. I know I've known you for 3 years now. I met you in YC Escape in Utah, right?
Yes.
Yes. And so tell me more about yourself and your company. I know you built this amazing company, Banish Skincare, which you gave me a few items from your baby shower. And I tried your vitamin C cream. It's amazing. So tell me about you and your company.
Yeah, thanks, Kate. So I started Banish in 2013. So we've been around for over 7 to 8 years. I've had acne all my life. So starting from the 3rd grade, I've had acne. My skin is my biggest physical insecurity. So I have every skin problem known to man, but acne was really bad. I tried everything for acne. When I was a teenager, my parents and I, we probably spent at least, $20,000 just going to different doctors and medical people and dermatologists. My acne wouldn't clear up. And I was really depressed because it was just such bad cystic acne that when I would wash my face, my face would start bleeding, and then I'd go to school with Band-Aids on my face from the pimples popping, and it really affected my self-esteem. And so I became very depressed from the acne. And then when I was in college, I was just so fed up with how bad my skin was. So I decided to make a YouTube channel. So it's Daiserz89, DAISERZ89. And I still make videos to this day, but that was over 10 years ago, just reviewing skincare products. And I noticed that a lot of the ingredients in skincare really make my skin break out. And I'm very sensitive and I'm allergic to a lot of traditional ingredients in skincare.
Like
benzoyl? So I actually, benzoyl peroxide. I mean, it's too, like benzoyl peroxide, it's too harsh. And when you're pregnant, you're not supposed to use it, which, indicates how harsh it is to your body, that it can affect your baby, like when you're putting that on every night, when you have acne. So just little things like that I didn't know. So I started going to natural food stores and using their skincare, and actually helped my skin a lot. And then on my YouTube channel, just kept reviewing. And then I came across microneedling, and then using that with vitamin C serum that I made. And people on my YouTube channel noticed immediately, like, my acne scars went away, and people around me noticed it went away, and they were asking me what I was using. And that's just kind of how Banish started. So it was a very random thing that happened. I wasn't anticipating it, but I had a problem, which was my skin, and nothing would work for it. And then I wanted to help other people with their problems. So that's how Banish started. That was our first kit, the Banish kit. And 8 years later, we're still going on strong.
Yes. So you sounded like so easy, right?
Yeah.
Like how it helped. But I know there's a lot of, we're going to talk a lot about that. But tell me about your YouTube follower. How many followers do you have now?
So overall, I have, I think, over 200,000 followers and over 80 million views. I can't remember. So like back in 2015-ish, it really gained a lot of traction. Yeah.
Wow. And what is your secret to that? Do you think it's just storytelling? What did you do to gain that
I
followers?
think a huge part of it was timing. I started really early, and I was one of the first people, and I had acne. So I think a lot of people related to my story.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't like this perfect girl with perfect skin, so people could really trust me. My most viral videos were always about talking about gross skin topics like blackheads and pimples and acne scars. Those videos have like 10 million views on them. So I was kind of one of the first to do content on gross skin topics that people really wanted to know.
Wow. So how did you figure that out, that that's what you have to do? Did you want like research or?
No, back then in YouTube, it was really different. It was just random. I just made content, and the how to get rid of blackheads video went viral. I think it has over 10 million views. I don't know, people just were interested in it. Yeah. But I think nowadays YouTube is so much more difficult. It's a lot harder to get views. The algorithms changes. So you really have to keep up with it. So I haven't kept up with it as well as I would like to, because it's just a lot more time. Now you need to have a production team. You need to have someone filming it, editing it, post-production, all of that. Before I could just do it on my webcam and edit an iMovie and get away with it. But now it's like a whole production. You want to be successful.
Okay. All right. So I know, I went with you at the Inc. 5000 and you were in the top 500. You were what was your ranking by then?
150 something. Yeah.
Yes. And you were you were part of 20, was it 30 under 30, 20?
Yeah.
Yes.
30 under 30. Yeah.
Yes. 30 under 30. You've accomplished a lot for such a young age. And that's very inspiring.
Oh, thank you, Kate.
Yeah. So let's get back to your childhood, right? So where did you grow up?
So I was born in China. And I say I was born in one of the most polluted cities in the world. And then I came to Minnesota when I was 3 years old. So I grew up in the Midwest. Minnesota.
Okay. So what is that like from China, growing up in the Midwest?
Yeah, I really do believe my immigrant story has really shaped me as an entrepreneur, and I definitely wouldn't be who I am today without that. So seeing my dad come to this country with $400 in his pocket, seeing my parents, build something from scratch. My mom worked at McDonald's because she didn't really speak English. Initially we were on food stamps because we didn't have any money. But seeing them build themselves up really affected me and made me realize, hey, like if you have a good work ethic and discipline, like you can do anything. And also growing up in Minnesota was difficult in that there were no other Asians around. So I immediately felt very, very different. And, my family was very poor. So I didn't go to like birthday parties or like, gymnastics classes or any of that. I was just kind of like home by myself all the time. But I think that really taught me how to be resourceful. It kind of made me very, very independent from a young age because I didn't really have I wasn't a social butterfly. I wasn't popular. I was just kind of like the weird Asian girl. So I just kind of did my own thing. So I think it has made me very independent, and it has also made me realize what it feels like when you're not included or accepted in a larger community because I was so different from everybody. I was made fun of, there was a little bit of racism. I just kind of stuck to myself. And with Banish, I always want everyone to feel included, whether they have bad skin or not. So definitely my childhood, I would say, was probably more difficult than most, but it really has shaped me who I am. And I really credit my work ethic to my childhood because, when you're coming to this country with absolutely nothing, you're very creative on how you make it work. And so when you're starting a business, you have to be very, very creative, right? On how to start it. So that has also helped me. And just being very independent from a young age, I think I'm very independent just by starting a company, myself and growing it. I'm comfortable doing that.
Okay. All right. So I met your parents and your mom.
Yes.
So do you think your mom helped you shape a lot. She's kind of remind me of you.
Crazy.
It's
okay.
way,
All
like,
entrepreneurs are crazy.
Yeah, I think she like planned it. Like she really like, I can tell she's a leader. Is she the leader in the house?
She's very bossy, just like me.
So I mean, my mother wasn't like that, but I definitely grew up in a tiger mom where you really have to do what they told you to do. Like, they get mad if you don't do it in seconds. My mother is like, has the instant gratification issue. Like, when she wants me to do, she wants to do it now. Like, I get
that's me too.
Is that the same?
That's my personality, and I think my mom is like that too.
Yeah, and as much as we hated it, but we do the same thing, right?
Yeah, like I want this baby to come out now, and still waiting.
Okay, so you built this multi-million-dollar business, and I know you bootstrap it from nothing. So tell me, how did you build it? Like, I know you built your community. What was the first product? How did you do it?
First product was the Banish kit. So that was I was just literally mixing stuff in my kitchen and shipping it out. So that was, that was okay. But when it became like more than a few orders a day, that became hard to scale. So in the beginning, I did go through a lot of, things that people don't see. I lost a shipment, like $30,000 worth of inventory in customs. I mean, I just lost it because I didn't know what I was doing. I took out some credit cards. I rented out my room on Airbnb. And I would sleep on the couch so I could make some money. I was making some YouTube videos. So I was really hustling and being super, super creative on how to fund myself. But initially I did everything. So I didn't have any employees, which was good. So my overhead was really low. But because I sold product, it was easy to kind of reinvest that money back into buying inventory and stuff. And I also have my YouTube channel. So I was also doing sponsorships and brand deals and getting revenue from Google AdSense.
So tell me, how did you lost that $30,000 worth of product? Was it disappear from custom? Was it a shipping issue?
Yeah, I don't remember exactly, but it got stuck because I didn't provide the right paperwork. And I mean, when you're starting, you don't know. You're just like, okay, and you just sign whatever. Like, you don't know what you're doing, right? And then it just all of a sudden just like disappeared. And there was no way I could get it because I didn't know, like I didn't have a shipping agent to help me or whatever. So yeah, that was pretty devastating. I actually thought it wasn't going to work out. Like I was just telling myself, like, there's one part of me that was like, yeah, Daisy, like, this is so stupid. Did you ever think like this could be successful? Did you ever think you could actually do this? Like, there's that really negative side of me. But then there's another side of me, and I really, really, truly credit my audience on YouTube that really needed the product because they believed in me and they valued my story and they believed in my product. And I was like, even though I lost all this money and all this product, I need to do it for them. So I truly believe if I didn't have my YouTube channel, I would have given up because that was very devastating when you have no money and you're just losing everything. And I don't know, I'm just like this, 23, 24-year-old girl thinking I can create this business. And I was like, what am I doing? Yeah. So that was very hard.
I know how that likes. It actually happens to me. One of my bulk order. So I drop it off in the back of the post office in San Clemente. And I think the guy who works there, he threw all 2 of my bags in the trash. God. So I think I lost about the same amount.
Wow.
And I cried and I thought, it was so hurtful, right?
Yeah.
It's like, it's just like, so I know how that feels. It's crazy. I think I cried at that day.
Especially when you're just starting out, and you're like, that's all I have, and you lose it all. That was really hard. I mean, if that happened now, it would just be like, okay, whatever, like a loss in your balance sheet. But yeah, this was just like, oh my God, do I really think I can do it? Like, I was kind of doubting myself.
Now, you mentioned about Airbnb. What did you do? Did you rent your place to Airbnb?
Yeah, I rented my room. Yeah, so I rented my room for $80 a night. I'd sleep on the couch. So I don't know, it was kind of fun because I like had to like make the bed and like clean up and like I would give them toiletries and stuff. I don't know, it's kind of fun. And I didn't mind. And, you know, living in Pasadena, it was a good location. So, I don't know, it was a great experience. I mean,
and what year was that? You started Airbnb?
2014, 2013. Yeah. So, yeah, it was probably one of the earlier Airbnbers. But it was, I mean, I really liked doing it. If I had more time, I would, you know, do what you're doing, like get a bunch of places and rent them out in Airbnb.
Yeah. And you mentioned you were using Groupon too for food.
Yeah. So I would buy, you know, it was like $20 worth of food for $10 at like Cheesecake Factory, right? Or Buka. So I'd buy all that food, get it takeout, and then I would just like ration it throughout the week. Just finding ways to be creative to save money, you know. Like I would never just like order food now, like I do now. So it was just me like hustling, and it was just like, how can I survive on, you know, X amount of dollars per day without having income, because I was putting all of the income from the business back into it, right, to purchase whatever. So yeah, I was really hustling in the beginning.
So do you remember how much money did you spend in the beginning? What was your
What do
first
you mean?
When you started building your skincare? How much did you invest?
Oh, well, at least that 30 grand-ish, more, probably more. But I think the positive thing was I didn't have to pay for advertising, which is probably the most expensive cost in skincare, because I had the YouTube channel. So that saved me. If I hadn't had that, I would have, I don't know where I would have to like get money from somewhere.
Okay. So what was one of your deepest motivation in life?
My deepest motivation, I like to have impact and make a difference. I feel like I was given this opportunity. I was given my stories, I was given my struggles, and a lot of people need to hear what I have learned. So that is really important. It's just like making the people who never felt like they were good enough, making them feel like they still belong in society. And again, that's where I go back to my childhood, where it was like, I never felt like I fit in. I was always the odd one out. Like I didn't have any friends because I was the only Asian. So I always want people to feel like they can fit into something. So that's my deepest motivation.
Okay. So can you name a person who has had a tremendous impact on you as a leader?
I would say my dad, even though he's very like risk averse, he has probably the hardest work ethic I've ever seen in somebody. He's very responsible and he's very disciplined, and he's just so hardworking. So I remember, like, as a young kid, I remember crying because I got a B on a math test, and I told my dad it was because I wasn't smart enough and I didn't understand calculus and blah 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 blah. And then he was just like yelling at me like, no, it's because you didn't do enough practice problems. And I just remembered, like, I just studied my ass off and I got an A and all that stuff. And that really made me realize that, like, those are limitations we tell ourselves. Like, I'm not good at math as an excuse, right, to say you can't do something. So I think from that, I've always learned, like, you have to put the work in, and you can never use like, I'm not whatever enough as an excuse.
Okay, so have you ever failed at something, and how did you overcome it?
Yeah, I failed at a lot of stuff. I would say my first job out of college, I don't want to say I failed at it, but it just wasn't the right fit. So I did consulting right after college. It was a very shiny job, paid well. I got to travel the world and stuff, but yeah, it was just not the right fit because I'm not a corporate person. And I was really wondering, like, what is wrong with me, because I worked so hard to get that job. I was one of the only few people in my school to land that job. And then when I was there, I was like, is this it? So I felt like kind of a failure in that, even though it wasn't like a flat out failure. But sometimes I say, like, failure, it means that something is not the right fit for you.
Okay. Well, running Banish, what is the hardest decision that you have to make?
always firing people. It gets easier. I don't know if it gets easier. In the beginning, it's really hard. Then it kind of gets easier. But yeah, that was very, very difficult, especially when you have people with you from the beginning and you've built that loyalty, and you give them chances, you talk over and over, you do the performance improvement, you really want them to succeed, and it's just not working out. And it's like everybody knows, but you really need to pull the plug, but they've been with you from the beginning, and that's really, really, really difficult. So even to this day, it's stuff I have to do, but yeah, it's the worst part of my job.
Yeah, I think it's really hard, especially like you said, they were there in the beginning, and as you grow, then you want them to think differently again, because you're now a different company.
Yeah.
Right? I think that's the hardest one. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's, I've had to learn how to separate business and personal, like, for personal and family, you're not going to just like fire them, right? But when you're a business, it's different. Like, if you're not performing, if you're not doing your job, then you always want to have the best people and the best team, right? And so not everyone is going to belong there at all times.
Yeah. And it's such a nonstop job managing people.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
How many team do you have now in the US and then remote?
15.
15. Okay. I know you're obsessed with SoulCycle. You can't wait to do that again?
Well, with the quarantine, you can't do any of that.
Okay.
But fitness classes, yeah.
Okay, so think back to the time that you felt transformed, and how did you change and why?
I think after giving my TED Talk, it's called A Tragedy Called Perfection. It was like my manifesto. And then after memorizing it over 200 times and just, speaking it, it was like, wow, this is my truth. And I think beforehand I was caught up in like competition, a little bit more comparison, a little bit more like, what is everyone else doing? Am I like the best? And then I just was like, I don't care anymore. Like, I am here to live my truth. And that's not defined by any rankings, any numbers, any whatever. Because I think before it's like, oh, you want to be the Inc. 500, right? Oh, like how much revenue or profit does your company do? Oh, blah, 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 blah. Like what car do you drive? Blah, blah, blah. And I realized that wasn't making me fulfilled. And I realized that none of that matters if I'm not speaking my truth. So after doing the TED Talk, I realized like what's important to me and important to us as a company. And then surprisingly, I don't know, just the business kind of just grew after knowing that, like, because before I was so preoccupied with what everyone else is doing. Now I don't really care. And now we're so much more clear on our mission and values that, decision making is so easy once you know what you're doing this all for.
Oh, that's amazing. I saw your TED Talk though. It was really great. I was really moved by it. So that was
thank you, Kate.
When I was practicing for my tech for that Women of Impact, I actually watched you.
Oh,
I want you to know that.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, what do you see as your place or purpose in life, and how did you come up to that conclusion?
My purpose in life is to empower people to be the best possible version of themselves. So with Banish, it's giving people the freedom to be able to walk outside and not have to hide from other people. Because when I had acne, I thought, I can't do anything because everyone's staring at my acne. I can't be who I am, blah, blah, blah. But I realized I was holding myself back. So I want people to be the best version of themselves without holding themselves back and being the most authentic version of themselves. So that's the purpose in my life, and that's purpose in my life through Banish. Even though we sell skincare, it's so much more than that. It's about making people feel like they can go into the world and be confident the way they are.
Oh, that's so beautiful. So I have a follow-up question. So how do you want to be remembered?
I want to be remembered by inspiring and empowering others.
Yes.
that I made them feel like they could do something, even if they felt like they couldn't.
And what would be your advice to a female that's just starting up a business?
Put one foot in front of the other. I think that's super important. Don't look at, what the competition is doing. Don't look at what everyone else is doing. Have maniacal focus on your goals. Break it down and just put one foot in front of the other. If you think about running a marathon, you don't think about the 26 miles. You think about one foot in front of the other every single, second, every single day. And then before you know it, you're going to have made so much progress. But I think a lot of times we get distracted and we compare ourselves and we never think we're good enough. Or I remember just reading like TechCrunch and seeing, oh, this company raised $10 million. Daisy, how are you going to compete with that? Blah, blah, blah. It was just so negative, So just block out everything and focus on what you need to get done.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so much better when you just know what you wanted. If you wanted less in life, it's actually so much better. I feel like you're so much happier.
Yes, exactly.
Yes. Yeah. Well, that was great. And thank you so much for being so open and giving us the best advice to everyone who's listening today.
Thank you, Kate. You're a great interviewer. These are great questions.
Do you know that I have a stomachache before I sit down in here because I was rushing?
No,
I was very nervous, really actually. Good. Well, thank you so much.
This is like one of the best, podcasts I've done because the questions are so good. Yeah.
Well, thank you, and I can't wait to see your baby. All right.
Yes.
Well, where can they find you? What's the channel?
So the website is banish.com, and then our Instagram handles are @Banish and @Banish Acne Scars, my personal handle, and YouTube channel is @DAISERZ89, Daisers89.
All right, thank you so much, and have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
We hope you enjoyed the show. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. And visit katehancock.com so you don't miss out on the next episode.